Greetings, Eric Backer, New Zealand naturopath, author of Candida Crusher, formulator of the Cleansina range of supplements. Here's a question I got from a lady in the States. What should I do, Eric, if I'm experiencing allergies on the Candida diet? Well, what kind of allergies are you experiencing? Are it food allergies? Are they environmental allergies? Is it allergies towards, maybe personal care products or things like that? So, as I've mentioned many times previous, there's a big difference with allergies and intolerances, and many people get them mixed up, right? So if it's a food allergy we're talking about, it's a good idea for you to determine what kind of food allergies they are. What are you reacting to in general? It's a good idea for you to follow step 2 of the Candida Crusher diet, which is the low reactive diet or the hypo or low allergy diet. That's going to really help you sort out, the good from the bad. You can also do 2 types of blood tests you can do for food allergies. You can do a blood draw where they stick a needle in and they take out about 10 mils of blood, they centrifuge it, they throw the red cells away, and they use about 7 mils of serum, which goes to US Biotech in Seattle, probably one of the best labs for assessing food allergies. And that's called an ELISA test, enzyme-linked, immunosorbate enzyme-linked assay test, or something like that. It's a complicated test. So what they do is they challenge the serum, okay, basically your blood. They're going to challenge it. There's antibodies in there. They're going to challenge it with different kinds of foods in the lab. So it's 96 foods, and they can be an IgG, so the delayed marker, or IgE, IgG, the immediate and delayed marker. That to me is the best test for food allergies. Or you can just get a test where you prick your finger, put a bit of blood on the cardboard, we call it a blood spot test, and they just check for IgG. But I think the blood draw is the better one to do. That's a clever test to do, either of those, if you really want to know what type of allergic responses you've got to foods. Many patients I know do that test up front to determine what's going on. You can't do that test in a lot of countries around the world, so if you're in Sweden, or in Spain, or in Italy, or a country like that, you probably need to go to another clinic to get those done. But if you're in the US, or you're in Australia, New Zealand, we can help you out with those tests. Okay? So that's what you should do if you're an allergist, is try and determine if there is a food allergy and what it is and pull it out immediately. But here's one way you can actually check yourself. You can start looking at the foods that you crave the most or eat the most. Are you eating 3 or 4 eggs every day? Could be an egg allergy. Are you having lots of coconut products in your diet? Could be coconut allergy. Are you eating 3 bananas a day? Could be banana allergy. So the food you're drawn to the most is often the ones you've got the biggest problem with. Okay? So you can find the sheet in my book, Candida Crusher, the hypoallergenic diet. It's a whole page, the low allergy diet, and there's 2 columns, the suspect or not okay foods on the right, and the okay foods on the left. So now I'm going to explain to you what those suspect foods are. So what do you think the most suspect food is when it comes to a food allergy? It makes a noise like moo. It eats grass in my country. It might eat grains in your country. It does big sloppy bowel motions. Cow pats. Oh, I gave it away. Cow. That's right. Cow milk. Cow milk accounts for the highest of all when it comes to allergies. Not gluten, I'm afraid. It's cow milk. So, not necessarily cheese, but cow milk. But if you really have a lot of milk in your diet and you suspect cow milk, then you may want to take out cheese as well, and cream and all dairy ice cream. Butter is fine because it's high fat. So if you suspect it, take all dairy out but butter. Okay. Second one I would say would be not far behind that one. Would be bananas and pineapple. They come back quite high in the food allergy profiles. So I call them FAPs for short, FAP. So peanuts come back high on FAP. Oranges, chocolate, sugar. I've just about given you all of them. And of course also we find eggs, especially with skin problems, behavioural problems in children, and bad bowel problems. We find eggs, egg yolk and egg white, and gluten. Yes, gluten does come up, but it's not as common as you think. I would find 10 times more milk issues on an FAP than I would gluten. So I've got 3-tier system I work on with food allergies. Okay? The top tier system, or the black or the high ranking foods, are the ones I just gave you. Can you remember them? Dairy products. Oranges, bananas, pineapples, chocolate, sugar, peanuts, and I'd say gluten would be sort of, first tier going on second tier. But second tier would be probably the top of the list would be gluten and corn. Egg probably really belongs on that second tier list. So the first tier we take out first. If we still don't get a resolution, we start hitting on the second tier. So what's second tier? Think about it. Eggs, gluten, corn. So in the third tier could be just about any other food. I've even seen people have a high antibody counts to lettuce and tomatoes and potatoes and foods like that. So we never know until we check. Right? So for most of those foods we mentioned, there's alternatives that you can try out. So what was the question again? What should I do if I experience allergies on the Candida diet? Determine the allergy, make the change, and then start working on rebuilding your leaky gut. Because most people who've got multiple food allergies have got a compromised small intestine, particularly the duodenum, the first part of the small intestine. So a stool test is very smart, because if you've got a high IgA count and low beneficial bacteria, immediately, bingo, we found a problem. We have to work on the beneficial bacteria. Right? We have to eat prebiotic foods. We've got to take some digestive enzymes and some probiotics. And then we immediately go and look for yeast infections or yeast imbalances, bacterial problems, parasite problems. We've got to repair all this stuff. Okay? Try and fix what's broken. And then when you fix what's broken, the whole thing can start working better and better. Sometimes with a food allergy, you'll also have an environmental allergy. So look for different things in the air and maybe make a few changes there. Personal care products, for example. So I hope that explains to you about the allergies. Now, in most cases, people with allergies, once they've cleared them up and fixed their gut, they can slowly put foods back into their diet again. Starting with the foods down the bottom and working to the top. The top is the foods you desire the most, and the bottom is the foods that you weren't eating that much of, that you've taken them out of your diet. So start introducing those first and gently work your way up. Okay? So I hope that answers your question. Thanks for tuning in.